kind of flipped. We can talk about that later or not, whether or not it was a hit or an error, what we think. But, I mean, we knew that he'd pitched such a good game. We knew he was going to come in and just face Harris because it was left on left, and then someone else was going to come in. You see here, I don't know if Nico had enough time to flip it to his glove. I felt like he did because Harris, like, once Nico fielded the ball, he kind of let up a little bit because he's like, I know that Nico's a good hitter, right? And then you see Kim, after Maton came in, it was just slider after slider and hanging. You see Yastrzemski here. This ended up giving them the lead with that double in the right field gap. Good relay, though, to get Kim at home. I mean, this was impressive with PCA throwing it to Dansby. But then you see Dubon hitting the homer, the two-run homer, to basically seal the deal for the Braves.
And how tough is that to see Mauricio Dubon go bridge? Because we heard JD during the broadcast, Dubon, not really a slugger, but he sure slugged that one out of the ball.
No, he's one of those guys. He's almost like a Matt Shaw. He's like that utility guy. He plays infield, he plays outfield. Like you said, it's only his third home run of the year. They threw him in that leadoff spot today because you had the lefty on the mound, so Baldwin moved down into that two-hole with being in the DH. But, yeah, it's just very unfortunate. I mean, look, some guys that don't have power run into one sometimes.
Absolutely. We saw Nico with that play and not questioning Nico and his defensive acumen. But like you said, you thought he may have had an extra split second to get it out of his glove. Perhaps a backhand toss right there. It looked as if the glove kind of scooped upwards.
I was just going to say, it's almost like the ball stayed in the palm of his glove, and when he scooped it, usually you want it to go straight, right? And obviously it kind of just went up, and it almost like you're playing lacrosse or something, and it kind of lollipopped over his head. And you can see on Nico's face, he's like, ooh, I didn't mean for it to do that. So, yeah, I mean, I think in those situations, look, if he makes that play, we're not even talking about it. And I would probably say 90% of the time Nico does make that play. But just in that situation, it's unfortunate. And then, you know, like I said, Shota gets that earned run. He ends up giving up 2 earned runs on the night to go along with the 1 homer that he gave up to Baldwin. But overall, Shota just very impressive.
Yeah, he was dirty. We'll continue to talk about him as the show unfolds. Nico, however, he was the one dude who was able to drive a run in. That knock in the top of the 5th ended a 0 for 25 drought with runners in scoring position. And that's the one thing that the Cubs have been seriously lacking over these last 4 ball games. Their inability to hit with ducks on the pond. You have to be able to get them on, you have to get them over, but you also have to get them in.
You really do, and they're getting those opportunities. In the last 4 games, they're 1 for 27, being that Nico
say that
hit
again?
1 for 27.
Oh, boy.
So, I mean, when you look at it, they're getting the opportunities. You take a look at this series so far. 1 hit, 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 run. And then you go in and you needed to win this game tonight because you have Chris Sale on the mound tomorrow. Not saying that they can't beat him, but when you take a look at that guy's numbers, and he's doing it at 37 years old, it's pretty impressive.
Is this a case of the Atlanta Braves pitchers getting the job done or the Cubs bats not getting the job done?
Well, when you take a look at it, Holmes last night, he only went 4 innings. Tonight, Richie went 4 1/3 innings. I mean, their starting pitchers are not staying in the game very long. It's the bullpen. It's the guys towards the back end. I mean, you do not want to get to any closer, but when you get to Iglesias, that was his 26th consecutive save. That guy just doesn't give up runs. So you don't feel like you're defeated. You felt like you had a chance, especially when Bush came out and got the walk. You're like, okay, they said on the broadcast, next man up. But sure enough, ground ball double play, and then a fly out to end the game.
Yeah, tonight a little bit different than last night. We saw Didier Fuentes coming in, and he was throwing 98, 99, just like he rolled out of bed, made that thing look easy. But hitting with runners in scoring position, that will be all important moving forward against Chris Sale. If you want to at least salvage 1 ball game in this series, that will be how you get it done. Shota Imanaga, we talked about him bringing his A game. What more could he have done? 7 innings, 96 pitches. He was efficient as always, wasn't he?
Well, and efficient, and he attacks the strike zone. He only gotten a few 3-2 counts, but when he did, he had 0 walks. So we're seeing Shota have that swing and miss stuff. He did have 6 strikeouts. He made a lot of good hitters. What I wrote down is that he kept guys off balance. We heard Ozzie Albies use the profanity in the one at bat. He got him 3-2, and they just couldn't stay back. He was getting a lot of weak pop flies in the infield. You see the MLB leaders here for left-handed pitchers. I mean, Shota with that 2-3-2. And it shouldn't be that high because he really should have only given up 1 run tonight.
Yeah, Shota Imanaga throwing it through a bottle top. Unfortunately, the fellas not able to run through the tape to get him the victory. A 2.32 for lefties. We're going to see a whole bunch more of this on full display. Let's start the Shota Imanaga to Philly in the All-Star Game campaign right now. And the maybe we'll see the fellas campaign for Shota as well. The lovable reunion, that's coming up next right here after us on Cubs Postgame Live. Anthony Rizzo, David Ross, Anthony Elmore Jr., and or Albert Elmore Jr., excuse me, as well as Chris Coughlin. All the guys, they will be in tow. They were kicking stories around as far as the eye can see. And now these fellas, well, they're trying to get themselves back in the win column immediately, if not soon. A lot of long faces hanging around in that clubhouse as well as the dugout. They're thinking about victory. They'll do so tomorrow. We'll tell you the highlights. That's next right here on Cubs Postgame Live. This is Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer. And it's not even the middle of May yet, but we are checking some of these standings. The Cubs right now are with a 2-game cushion out in front of those Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers currently up on San Diego, but if the Padres take a lead, they have a surefire. Yep, they have Mason Miller. He'll come in and he will surely throw some fire. We'll see how that one shakes out. In the meantime, Cubs-Braves, Game 2. That is how the Cubs lose 4 in a row, but we know one thing these guys do not do is continue to string losses together. Tomorrow, it is a new day after suffering a 3-run defeat courtesy of these Atlanta Braves. And as JD and Alex Cohen said, the first team in all of Major League Baseball to 30 wins on the season. Shota, he was absolutely superior once again tonight. So, Craig, what'd you see from the throwing philosopher?
Yeah, Shota was awesome. This is against a team that's been that good offensively to shut them down into the 8th inning. He pitched wonderfully. He did a great job, and it's a shame we couldn't just do a little more on the other side of the ball to get him some runs.
He had a couple innings where he was super efficient with his pitches. Just what did you feel like allowed him to kind of get through this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what, when you got your stuff rolling, I think the hitter says, I gotta get something done early, and that's kind of what happens as the hitter, because there's just quality pitches coming one after another, and so yeah, you're right. He was super efficient, and he pitched wonderfully. It was a wonderfully pitched game.
I mean, even the home run.
Yeah, pretty good pitch. That was a pretty good pitch. Yeah, it was like a good hitter, a good night, really good hitting, young hitter, and he took a good swing.
Craig, we've seen Nico perform so many sleight of hands over there at second base.
Well, we made a lot of really nice plays tonight, and I'm sure Lico would. It was a tough play, not an easy play. I'm sure he would tell you I could have made that play, but it was a tough play.
What do you see from the Braves if it's late there that make it tough for any time?
Well, yeah, we hung some breaking balls. I think Phil will tell you that when you talk to him. He hung some breaking balls, and those were, Phil's got a swing and miss breaking ball, but if you put it in the wrong spot and you hang it, and, they're going to hit it pretty good.
Offensively, you guys were able to get some runners on and had some moments to create some pressure.
Yeah, I think 3 of these 4 days we've had the starter out before the 5th inning because we've piled up pitch counts and we've had really good at bats and we've created action. We just, we're missing some hits right now, and we've got some guys. I think we're having good at bats. We're just they're not ending up in hits. Some are ending up in walks and some long at bats that end up in outs. Means we're missing some pitches probably that we probably need to hit during the course of that. The batted ball luck's kind of gone the other way against us, and it adds up to some tough offensive games.
You knew you were going to see Smith and Yastrzemski, I would imagine.
Yeah.
In the 8th. What did you like about the matchup with
Well, we basically, it was, you're getting Kim, the first guy getting on, so you're getting those 2 guys, and then you got Dubon behind him, you got a righty behind him. Either way, you're not getting matchups. It's late in the game. You don't get matchups late in the game. The other team empties their bench late in the game, so you pick who you want out there.
Well, you heard the Skip. You have to have good pitch counts. You have to have good at-bats, and that's what the fellas have been having. However, they haven't been able to finish. There's been pitches that they can't miss, and they have missed some of those, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think, like I said earlier, no extra base hits. I said in the pregame yesterday when the series started, it's going to come down to who can get those 2-out knocks. And I think in certain situations, look, when you have two teams that score the most in the big leagues, and these scores have been so low until it could have been 2-1 is the final score, but then it ends up being 4-1, so it's a little bit inflated. But I mean, the pitching has been very, very good this series, and I look for that to probably continue. And like Craig said, you go out there and you have both getting starters, getting those pitch counts up, getting right now.
Absolutely. We talked about the Texas Rangers bullpen, how good they were. We saw a heaping helping of those dudes. We've also seen the Atlanta Braves come out and stifle these Cub bats. So tomorrow against Chris Sale, it's going to be all hands on deck, jumping on him early and often. The ambush mentality, we'll see if that's able to stick to the game plan. And now it's time for us to make that move to our insurance play of the game, presented by Insure on the Spot. And what wins championships, Sween?
Pitching.
Well, defense was the answer I was looking for. Either way, I sprung that one on you. It was a pop quiz, but look at the defense right here.
They showed up at whatever.
To Nico, just like that, flipping it over to Michael Bush and the relay play. How about PCA and Dansby on the same page to get that out at the house?
Well, Shota got a couple big double plays in the game, too. You saw the one with Swanson, and then, like you said, the relay play. So those were big points in the game that could have changed it. Can't change the outcome.
Absolutely. Shota and Edwin are ready to face the music. As always, we're going to hear from those guys on yet another tremendous start. 7 innings, 96 pitches. However, he's saddled with the loss. More Cubs postgame live. It's after this. Postgame live. Set the DVR if you're not able to catch it live and direct. How about Shota Imanaga? He's been live and direct every single time he's out there on the slab. You see chase rate leaders. He went tonight. The only problem is that the other
guy's going tomorrow.
We're going to see him tomorrow on the hill, 37.9. But Shota, 14 called strikes tonight, 14 whiffs, and he had 18 foul balls, but it did not result in a Chicago Cubs W. Here now, Shota and Edwin on tonight's Open Gym.
とにかく今は先発が早いイニングで降りてしまうと、中継ぎに負担がかかってしまうので、しっかり自分の長いイニングを投げるっていう役割を果たそうと思ってマウンドに上がりました。
I think as a starting pitcher, if we don't throw like longer innings, that means there's more pressure on the relievers. So, as a starter, I'm trying to do my role, throw as many innings as I can.
So the council said they pitched wonderfully tonight. That was his word. It's hard to dispute that, isn't it?
今日カウンセル監督が素晴らしいピッチングをしてましたと言ってましたけど、それに賛成しかできないですよ。
僕も点を取られているので、しっかりゼロで抑えてれば、カブスが勝つ可能性があったので、自分の反省点としては点を与えてしまったというところが反省点になると思います。
Reflecting on my outing today, if I didn't give up any runs, then the Cubs would have had a chance to win. So I think, when looking back at it, I should have kept them to 0.
When you look at some of those efficient innings you had, where you had less than 10 pitches to get through, what did you feel like was the key to being so effective in those stretches?
今日の回の中で10球以下の球数っていうのが何回かありましたけど、効率いいそういうイニングっていうのは何が一番効果的と感じましたか？
そうですね。相手がどういうことをやろうとしているのか、相手打線が何を考えているのかっていうのを、早くバッテリーで察知して、そう相手がやりたいことをやらせないということが、そういう効率のいいピッチングにつながっていると思います。
Picking up what their offense is trying to do early, with the catcher and trying not to let them establish their game plan. And I think, just going with our game plan.
Can you describe just your mindset? Because when you say, you're going out there right now thinking, don't even give up a run, how you feel right now to where you can be saying these things compared to last year?
その登板で、1失点も与えないっていう、マインドで、言ってるっていうのは、去年と比べて、どういうマインドの違い感じますか？
そうですね。やはり 0-0 の、場面で、試合が進めば、例えば自分もミスできないですし、相手ピッチャーもミスができないっていう、そういう緊張感の中で投げていかなければいけないんで、相手ピッチャーが一番嫌なことは、そのゼロで抑えられると一番嫌なことだと思うんで、ただそれをしたいだけですね。
I think, if a game is, 0-0 tied, I think that puts a lot of pressure on their pitcher too. And so I think, what my mindset is, trying to make it so that he feels a lot of pressure too.
So the first loss of the season when the Cubs starting pitcher goes at least 7 innings. Shota Imanaga once again maneuvering through those choppy waters that is the Atlanta Braves 1 through 9 lineup. And when you take a look at everything he's been able to do, 2 runs or fewer in 7 of his 9 starts. He was dialed in once again today. What'd you see from a hitter's perspective?
He was, and I love how he talks about going deep into the ball game. So let's take a look at what he did so well. I think when you look at him, he had 14 swing and misses today. In his last start, he had 22. So, I mean, he just keeps going out there. What was it? It was the sweeper. We talked about that sweeper against left-handed hitters. They only had 3 in the lineup, but Baldwin, he kept them off balance. Like I said, he only made 1 bad pitch to him. But what does Shota do well? He can throw that splitty in that sweeper, but he shows that fastball up, which changes the eye level. So, and he hits that down and in corner too right there to Dubon. But you see there, the split finger is just nasty. It almost looks like a fastball, but it keeps guys out front, off balance, even getting Matt Olson to take that pitch right there. But then Baldwin, you see here in the 4th inning, he tries to sneak in a couple fastballs, 3 to be exact. And then he comes back with that sweeper away, gets him to chase, and then boom, just leaves that one out over the middle of the plate. It wasn't that bad of a pitch. Baldwin's just a strong dude, man. And you see there, look, up, he shrugs his shoulders. He's like, hey, I made my pitch that I wanted to throw, and he just kind of threw his bat at it and ultimately ended up as being a home run.
Yeah, that reaction from Shota Imanaga just tells you that Drake Baldwin, he is that next level kind of player. There's a reason why he took home National League Rookie of the Year honors a season ago.
Well, and I think when you look at shrugging his shoulders, that he has confidence in every pitch that he throws. So he knew that he executed the pitch that he wanted. It's just sometimes the hitter makes a good swing.
We saw that good swing from Drake Baldwin. Fingers crossed tomorrow he has a whole bunch of bad swings left in the hopper. Let's take a turn and show you our Pella Make Life Brighter moment of the evening. Who made life brighter? Presented by Pella Windows and Doors. Well, Carson Kelly, you saw him getting a nice little rip right here. One thing that he's been able to do is go up there and have professional at-bats. Stansby Swanson taking the free pass, and then Nico getting the ribeye going his way. That ended that 0 for 25 runners in scoring position drought. And if anyone's going to do it, it's Nico on his birthday. Isn't that a special day to get it?
Hey, how about your 29th ribby on your 29th birthday?
Oh, to be 29 years old again. Remember those days?
Yeah.
Yeah, my knee.
Wasn't as long ago for me.
Well, take it easy now. Take it easy. Cubs, you see, with a 1+ stake on their birthday, Nico Horner. Happy birthday to you, young man.